Hello everyone, Riccardo Mazzini here, and this vlog is about Keep and Rolling Race to the Rhine 1944. Now, yeah, many of you will surely know this game, and many of you surely will have seen the great tutorial that you can find on Wargame Geek that I absolutely recommend to you to help you understand how this game works. So I'm not redoing a complete tutorial about this game because I am assuming that you have seen that video and even the others, or that you know the system, or anyway, you know what Sold is about, the general features of this system. This video will be about my own judgment about it, because this is a system. When I first saw the first edition of Race to the Rhine that I owned and then I sold, and then to get this second edition, Keep and Rolling, well, I was at first a bit taken aback by this game, because as many of you possibly, I'm very open to hybrid hero war games, but this looked to me a bit too much. Come on, track meeples, simple cards, simple blocks for the units, a map, okay, not an X-map, a point-to-point map, no problems about that, but the general look of the map. And the idea that this war game was cooperative. I love cooperative war games, but this is a bit weird. This is the West Front in 1944, after Normandy. What's the point of simulating it, of representing it in this way? And then, well, after that, I thought about it and I realized that, well, I read the main feature of the main focus of this simulation is logistics. Okay, nice. It's fine. Maybe you will have a point here or there to action points to share among your units. But then I read the review book. And what did I find in the review book? Well, I found out that there were no generic logistical points, resource points, call them as you like. I realized that there were 3 different resources: fuel, and fuel-fueled movement, ammo crates, ammunition, and this ruled combat, and food, and these ruled operational persistence, effectiveness. This is the movement, combat, and persistence are the 3 main forces, 3 main dynamics of the operational art of war. And after that, these were just the static resources. And then you got this, the meeple trucks, okay? This is transports. And wait a minute, I have resources, I have transport. Yeah, I have combat. Combat is very abstract. I just flip some cards and see if I have the necessary resources, but I have to get those resources there. And then another 3 dimensions. The first dimension is here on the cards, okay? Resources that are already on the front line, on the first line, among the units. First line resources. Then, through some actions, I can put resources here in the depots. Okay. Second line, rear line, logistics. And then I have the transport logistics, because I have to get these resources from here, to the units, to use them. And those resources, and even the trucks that transport those resources, are limited. And once I have used all those trucks, Logistics pause, operational pause, up tempo. This dictates my own up tempo on 3 different advanced directives. And each of these has 3 different units for the British. Lots of asymmetries. The commanders are different. You have Montgomery, Bradley, Patton, and with the 4th player, Patch and Divas. Different features. And you have to maneuver well, because if you, okay, I have an opening, I go with my own core, you see what happens here. The Axis player that can be managed by other players or by a bot, it doesn't matter. You will be isolated, you will have no more resources. You have to run towards the coast, hoping that you have enough resources with you, because you cannot obtain other resources to these nice trucks, and so find other logistical bases. And I said, oh well, wait a minute, this may be an hybrid wargame. This is an hybrid wargame. This is an hybrid Euro wargame. But this model, from what I've read about the campaign, well, it's plausible, and even more, it is convincing. It is a great model. It may be very easy to manage, maybe abstracted in some ways, but it doesn't just work. It resonates in my mind from what I've read about this campaign. Desperate actions just to get some limited supply bases. The difficult coordination about those leaders. This is not cooperative at all, because everyone has its own line of advance, and effectively everyone is competing to get the same resources, and maybe even hindering the others, even indirectly, but they are. Everyone has his or her own objective to cross the Rhine and get into the German heartland before the others. And so I was convinced. And when the 2nd edition came out, and the 2nd edition extended the number, increased the number of the players from 1 to 3 to 1 to 4 players, and even with a dedicated solo mode, you can play the basic game. Okay, in solo mode, no problems about that. But it is just, I consider that just as a way to fully understand rules. But you have another solo mode dedicated, a bit more complicated, sophisticated, but very convincing about the campaign in Brittany. These are my credentials. And I said, oh, okay. This is a game I must have. And I was very glad about this game, because it really convinced me for all the reasons that I told you. This is not just a game that works, that is nice, that is entertaining, that is engaging, and that gives also a good representation of this particular campaign. This is a logistics model, a military logistics model that is really convincing. And then one of my friends last week, he was in London, and in London he attended the Luca Fiorentini. This is the name of my friend. He attended the King's College Wargame Week with representatives from various military forces and Strategic Studies Center and NATO representatives. And what did they find on one of the tables with lots of war games, commercial, not commercial, regional, not regional, etc.? Found this. There were people playing this to show how a military logistic model works, even today. Okay, with all the differences, different features, but this is such a convincing model. And also this is a great game. And it is very easy. And you can get to play it in a very short time, even with people who are not wargamers. But this is a wargamers review, and as a wargamer, I'm really recommending you this game. As a wargame, I'm really recommending you this game, because yes, it works, yes, it is convincing, yes, it is a good wargame. Very different from every other wargame. No axes, no CRTs, no force ratios, but on other dimensions, treated in another way, that are equally valid as an OCS title, for example. Okay, very different. This is not going to substitute any OCS title, okay, of course. But this is another approach to the simulation, to the representation of logistical issues in a military campaign. And yes, it works, both as a game and as well as a simulation. Really, and I'm really surprised at how well typical Eurogame mechanics like action menus, resource management, even worker placements with those tracks, how well they work in this environment. So, okay, this is a strange review, I understand, but I'm really happy for this game. I will demo this game at two great wargaming conventions that are happening in Italy. First one is San Marino, that will be happening in just a few days. We'll have this game on the table, and also Modena Play at 17, 18, and 19 May 17th, May 18th, May 19th. I will bring this game, and I will be very happy to bring this in the wargaming area of Modena Play, the big historical area. And I'm really happy, I'm really proud to be able to demo this game. This game is dedicated to the 1944 campaign on the West Front. There is another one that is Race to Moscow, that is about the East Front, but personally I really don't like games about East Front. Okay, this is not my favorite subject, but it is just as good. But yes, absolutely. Once again, is this a war game? Yes, and it is a very good wargame, and I really recommend it to you as wargamers, not just as an introductory game or a game to play with non-wargaming friends. No, guys, for me this is a game that really possibly it is not made for wargamers, but that will be really liked by wargamers that want to have another approach to logistical issues. Absolutely recommend it. This was Straight to the Rhine. Thank you for having been with me. Okay, this has been a strange episode. I understand it's just an impression, not an impression, a review episode, because I made several plays of this, both solo and with the other friends, but absolutely recommend it. Keep them rolling. Race to the Rhine 1944. This is the second edition. The first edition was just Race to the Rhine 1944. It was just for 1 to 3 players. This second edition I recommend it to you because it fixes some small bits of the game. It includes also other expansions. It includes a 4-player track that you can put alongside the map here, and also another dedicated solitaire mode. These are my credentials about the mop-up operations in Brittany. Okay, very nice, very good wargame. Thank you for having stayed with me. As always, take care, have fun, and as always, don't be scared. It's just war games. Ciao.